Okay, so haven't got an introduction yet. This is an introduction video, but let's just get straight into it. This is Mind Your Own Business channel. Welcome to the Mind Your Own Business channel. So where else would it be better to start than briefly explaining who I am, what this channel is for, and ultimately what you can expect going forward. You might think that's a bit of an inflammatory name, and if that hurt your feelings, then I'm sorry, you can click off. You're not for this. You're not for this channel. You're not for this YouTube channel. I wouldn't want you to be a subscriber. But mind your own business. Why is this channel called Mind Your Own Business? It's simple. It's not because I'm precious. It's not because I want you to keep your nose out of my life. This channel is actually going to be very, very open, honest, and I'm going to be quite vulnerable on this channel because ultimately that's how you're going to learn some of the lessons that I've learned without having to experience them yourself. But why mind your own business is because I fundamentally believe that all of us are entrepreneurs. We are all entrepreneurs. We all run our day-to-day lives. And in my opinion, the way we run our day-to-day lives is no different to that of how many businesses operate at scale. So we all own our own business. That's the first belief that I want to instill in everyone who is listening to this talk. You don't need to own a limited company. You don't need to have registered anything with Companies House. You started your own business, not by choice, but when your parents gave birth to you. Most people never really realize this, and because of that, they don't actually do anything about it. But think about it. Think about how businesses run. Businesses need to grow. Businesses need to make a profit. Businesses only have a certain amount of time in the day, and they only have a certain amount of things that they can do in that time in the day. They need to manage that time, and they need to manage their resources. Businesses are ultimately trying to sell a product, a service, a good, whatever it is, to the market in order to generate those profits, in order to stay surviving. Now, if you think of all of those principles, they're all translatable to your own life. You need to grow. Why do you need to grow? You need to grow because inflation's killing everything. You need to continue to upskill, increase your income. You've got bills to pay. The food prices only go up. You need to grow in order to meet that demand. You need to generate an income to survive. This is obviously pretty simple, unless you want to live in a forest in a cardboard box. If you want to be, the Buddha or something, then maybe you can go out and become a monk and live in a temple. But let's be honest, we all live in this real world with real prices, real pressures, and real fixed expenses. So if you are a monk, then of course this channel is not for you. But for most of the people who are listening, I'm pretty sure you are going to need to generate an income to survive. You need to allocate your time and your resources properly. You only get 24 hours in a day. It sounds like a lot. You know it's not much. And believe it or not, just like businesses, you're constantly selling. You are constantly selling. You're selling your skills, you're selling your usefulness, you're selling your personality, you're selling yourself. You are the product. If you think about how employment works, if you think about how you get a job in the first place, you're selling your skills, you're selling your time, you're selling your attention, you're selling your energy, and in return, you're getting paid an hourly rate. Now, the ultimate goal for me, and the ultimate goal I would hope for most of the people listening, is not to be tied to an hourly rate, because an hourly rate will always dictate the amount of money you can earn in a certain amount of time. Now, that might be in a video for another time, but you do want to be in a position where you can disconnect your hours from the rate that you're earning so that this doesn't need to constantly be sacrificed in order to get this. Another video for another time, but this is just an introduction. So mind your own business. You need to start minding your own business because no one else is going to do it for you. Okay? School teaches you to become a worker. It wants you to get a degree, to get the basic skills, and then go into employment and stay there for the rest of your life. Okay? You need to start taking ownership of time, energy, attention, your ability to grow, the systems you use, and the value that you create to other people. Because when you start taking ownership of that, that's when we start to spin the wheel and really disconnect the time from the income. So, who am I? Let me give you a bit of context about who I am. As you can see, that's me at 21 years old. MYOB, mind your own business, don't need to explain it. I am a 23-year-old financial advisor, just qualified as a financial advisor, and I'm based here in the United Kingdom. You could probably tell by the accent. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here because I want to share my experience up to now, because it's not been an easy ride. And as you can see here, I've not came from a silver spoon background, okay? I don't have any A-levels. I didn't go to university. I've not grown up in a family who have put everything on a platter for me, like a job, network connections, money. None of that was something that I grew up with, seen, or got to experience. I consider myself very much self-made. Of course, my parents love me and they've done a great job in raising me, but it was never a situation where I knew I was financially backed by them. So I've done many jobs. I have not just been studying to become a financial advisor from the age of 18. I've done all my exams and I've worked my way into a business. That's not the route I had. I've worked about every shit job you can imagine under the sun, and even under the moon, you could say, because over my time I've worked in McDonald's, I've done Amazon warehouse work, Amazon delivery driving, I've worked for every DPD, all of the parcel people you can imagine. I've done night shifts at warehouses where it's -6 degrees. I'm starting work at 9 p.m. I don't finish until 6 a.m. in the morning. Honestly, it was brutal. Those jobs, I mean, you can do the research yourself, but I'll save you the time. Working in a warehouse from 9 p.m. at night till 6 in the morning, if people actually choose that as a lifestyle, which many people do because they are workers and because they are dying to create savings, generate an income, and the only way that they can do that is by sacrificing their night times, circadian rhythm, and overall health in order to generate a higher wage. They literally are wiping years off their life. They're wiping years off their life, all because of the pursuit of money. And that's because they've not managed their own business right. They've seen life through this perspective of a worker, and they've not took ownership of their time, skills, network, usefulness. Instead, they're bound to the worker life forever. Now, I'm not creating this YouTube channel because I know everything. I'm not here preaching to you because I'm better than you. I'm no better than anyone else. I'm just here because I want to share some of the knowledge that I've got, share some of the experience I've got, and hopefully I can help some people along the way. Now, what I do know from my experience is that I've been able to create something. I've been able to envision a life for me that I would actually want to step into. And over the last couple of years, from being a 21-year-old with no savings, no degree, no A-levels, no network, no skills, I have put myself in a position where now I'm 23 years old. I have got a qualified title as a financial advisor. I have the ability to massively and drastically improve my income over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I've managed to save up for myself an emergency fund, a fuck you fund, you could call it, of about 2 to 3 years worth of expenses saved and invested off to the side. My net worth is starting to grow quite significantly in the background, and that's all because I've took the ownership to really start treating my life as a business and laying down the right foundations at such a young age. Because if you don't do it now, then you could change that to a 30-year-old MYOB. And if I was still 30 in that position, it's going to be very, very, very harder to reach my goal of financial freedom or whatever it might be for you, because I've sacrificed all that time. I'm lucky that when I was 21 years old, I had a wake-up call. You know, I lost my job as a warehouse worker. I got fired for gross misconduct and I had no money. I just spent my last £3,000 on a new car, a fast car, and literally within the space of 2 weeks of buying that car, I spent every last penny I had on that car. I lost my job and I had no other job, no other backup. I was just at my parents' house in overdraft thinking, what on earth am I going to do with my life? And I'm 21 years old at this time. You know, you look around, my friends had just finished university, they started getting jobs, some people were having kids, and here I am with nothing but a new car and no capability or ability to do anything. I couldn't even go out for a meal with my mates if I wanted to. Everyone was booking these lads' holidays. If I wanted to, I would literally be needing to do that off a credit card. Now, of course, I've come a long way from that point, but that was possibly one of the lowest points of my life. And the one lesson that I got from that moment in my life was that it was all my fault. It was all of my fault. You know, the harsh truth that I had to accept was that the reason why I was in the position that I was in was simply down to myself. I had no one else to blame. There is other people that people do choose to blame. There are other scenarios, there are other environments that other people do choose to blame when they are at rock bottom. But I believe that choosing to blame somebody else for your problems removes the power that you have and the control that you have over your own life. And if you do choose to blame somebody else, then you give them the power over the results, over the outcomes, and over the place where you stand today. And that is not a life that I want to live, and that's not power that I want to relinquish to anyone, because that means that they control everything in your life. So, I've went on a bit of a tangent there, but once you realize and accept that you are the reason that the position you are in, you are the reason that you're in the position that you are in, that means that it's then on you to get yourself out. And this is what many businesses do that I think everyone should be doing in their own personal life. The best businesses succeed because they do two things, and they do them relentlessly. And they have to do them relentlessly because it's a competitive game and there's many people who are trying to take their position. So, first thing they do, they track and they test what they do. They constantly fail, they constantly try new things, they figure out what the market wants, what the market needs, who's buying what, whether they liked it or not. They track everything. Data, sales, communications, show up rates. No matter what type of business it is, they track, they get feedback. And then with all of the data and all of the tests that have been done, they review and they reflect. They do this to see whether their time, their energy, and their attention and their capital was well spent. Now, this is not a framework that is just useful and purposeful for businesses. Everyone else can track and test what they do. Everyone else can review and reflect on what they do. It's not hard. And this is the number one part and the biggest takeaway of this video. If you take anything away from this video, I know this was supposed to just be an introduction into the channel, but this is ultimately an introduction into what you can expect in further videos and future videos. Now, you might think I've waffled on for a little bit, and I possibly have. This was supposed to be a 2 or 3 minute video, but I like to talk, and that's why I've started this video, because my mum's fed up of listening to it. So someone else might gain some value and might also want to listen to it. But the 2 takeaways: track and test everything you do. If you've got a new job, how are you spending your time there? What have you done there to potentially get a raise? How well are you performing at your job? When you're spending time outside of your job, are you spending that in fashions that yield you some form of return, whether monetary, whether physically, whether energetically, whether emotionally? If not, then why are you spending your time on those things? Why are you wasting your time, energy, and attention on things that aren't yielding you any benefit whatsoever? And then this is reflecting. That is the reflection. So review and reflect. I am a massive advocate for taking some time to yourself every single day or at the end of every week and really reviewing, seeing how you're getting closer to your goals, whether or not the actions you're taking are bringing you closer to those goals, and asking some of the tough questions that too many people forget to ask or are too scared to ask. So I've spoken for a lot. This was just meant to be an introduction. I mean, I don't know, I can't see how long I've been recording for, but what I'll say is the next video, I'm going to film it right after this one because I don't want to just leave you with the introduction, is a breakdown of the 5 questions I asked myself when I was in this position, and I still ask myself to this day on a repetitive basis. It might not be every single day. It definitely isn't every single day, but it's probably something that I'll do every month, every quarter, definitely at the end of every year. And these questions give you what I would like to call is a greater awareness. You get to see your life from Hawk's eye. And from Hawk's eye, you can then make strategic moves and plan 5 moves ahead to put your life back on track when we've been living unconsciously for so long. So I'm going to leave that with you there. If you think this channel is going to be useful, if you think that mind your own business is going to be something that is in your weekly or monthly diet, then hit subscribe. I hope some of this has resonated with you, and I'll catch you in the next one.